I'm Gonzo Fred the Phoenix. I'm the founder of Phoenix Charities, and it has an educational arm of dealing with citizens on what's called pro se lawsuits. And the pro se lawsuits come under your First Amendment of right to address the government for grievance. So a citizen can do their own lawsuit. But they have their rules of civil procedure. But at the same time, a person in pro se is supposed to have leeway and latitude because they don't know the laws as much. They didn't study it in school and do it day in, day out like a lawyer does. But here's, if you go to law school, the first book they give you is a little book like this, when they're talking about the rules. And in this one, when it's Rule 4, there's 8 pages to Rule 4. Now Rule 4 has to do with summons. And I'm talking about it this time because they said under summons is why my case was originally dismissed on this postal lawsuit. But let me get back to this part now. Again, we have the part that has the one that comes from the House Judiciary. And this is when you go to your computer and you go in there and you want to get a PDF file printed off yourself. Again, here's all the rules. And here's Rule 4 in there, and which it just does a little bit quicker, a little bit more than the book did. But now let's go to the encyclopedia of Rule 4, and here we have the this is Encyclopedia of Rule 4. It's Chapter 4, Summons. Now summons has to do with the court has to know that you've been notified in a lawsuit, and and that's what it is. It doesn't make a difference how you've been notified as long as they can prove that you've been notified. The rules are simple procedure that establishes proving to the court that you've been notified. Now here it is. Again, Rule 4, over 200 pages of how to do summons and stuff and for the court. Now, like I said again, Rule 4 is a summons that shows the court that you have been notified as well as you have been notified. It's like a chicken and egg type of thing a little bit. But the court, before it starts ruling against you or not against you, or if you haven't done this, that, you don't show up, it's got to know you've been summoned. You've got to be notified. And if you aren't notified within a 120-day period, then the court is obligated to dismiss the suit. Now, the thing of it is, Kurt Lusty comes running there as a special assistant U.S. attorney, and he's found that he hasn't been properly notified. Well, let me tell you something. We sent a certified letter to the Postal Service as a matter of protocol. Now, they notified the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah, and then they handed it over to Kurt Lusty as a special assistant to handle this case. To handle this case, and there's rules and regulations he's got to obey and abide by on ethics and Supreme Court decisions and all the whole board. So he comes there and says, well, he hasn't been notified. Well, then who hired you? Who paid for you? How did you know to show up in court? That is 100% proof that you've been notified, that you even filed anything in court. He's supposed to start the motions of whatever it is, but to do the case itself. And I didn't answer it because how much more, why do I have to answer a Rule 4, him saying he hasn't been notified when he's in the courtroom? You know, so this is Gonzo Fred the Phoenix, again showing you this is of the educational side of Phoenix Charities, pro se lawsuits, and the pro se person has leeway and latitude, not supposed to have to do anything. The judge is supposed to have some common sense. If the judge doesn't know what the rules are and how they apply, in here, this is what it talks about in here. It's just these rules are here to guarantee that you have been notified. That's what they're there, to guarantee that the defendant or other parties have been notified. If you show up in court, there's no more proof than that when you show up in court that you've been notified. Gonzo Fred the Phoenix, up here in the state capitol grounds, Capitol grounds in the Supreme Court building.